Let's see. Hmm. Turning up. Oh, updating. Required update. All right. No chat for a while then. This blue a little bit, I think. Not too much. Zero. Reserve luminosity. Oh. That's neat. I might do that. Let's see. When this freaking chat loads up. Chat is bugging out Photoshop. Cool. Next Scaroscope connection. Great. I don't even use Periscope. Whatever. Let me see if it still works. Yeah, looks like that works. Good enough. What did I want to do? It's a little dark, I think. It's a little dark. But I think the blue will match the established branding a little bit better. Because the branding is blue. And I noticed that later, but Grump also noticed it. I was like, oh no. This is blue. Why is it blue though? And so I actually have it here. I'm gonna quickly grab this. One. I'm gonna start like putting it in places too. You know, not too showy, but like maybe a saturation layer there. You know, it's in there. You can't really see it. Maybe, you know what? Maybe a different. Maybe just like lighter color or something. Lighten. Screen. No, none of these are working. How about overlay? Overlay could be good. Why is it? Oh, because it's on top of the color balance layer. All right, yeah, let's see. That should make it a little bit better. And some of these. I think lighten is my best bet at like 20%. technically the game logo, so I'm not actually sure if it's represented at all in the art. So it's kind of a thing I'm gonna leave on another layer. I think that'll work out for me. Small. Oh, you know where it could be good? Like on a metal part. That could be kind of cool. Don't even need it to be that low then. But oh, right, yeah, it's what, how about like 80%? Let's try 7. I think it's because it's lightened maybe. Let me if I put it in overlay. Not really getting what I want. Ooh, that's nifty. Maybe that. It's contrasty and what's it called? Let me try that, but with a new one that's not deformed, because it's gonna be metallic. So weird little decal. Could be a good pattern for something too. Not really incepted in there. Let's see what else. Yeah, I think with the blue it'll work much better than with the green. I get that they're going for like a 70s look. I get that from the lettering. But yeah, I don't know. You know, established branding, gotta use it. But yeah, maybe it could be. It reminds me of like BioShock a little bit, something like that. Or not BioShock, System Shock. I feel like the original one, System Shock 2. I think that was like very similar. Let me see, System Shock 2. Maybe just the 2 in there. I don't know. I feel like that would be really good as branding. I don't know if I can just like steal it and then give them a mock-up. I feel like that would be me doing work that I'm not paid to do. So, but I do have some cool ideas, I think, for branding. Like this type of lettering actually works really well. I think they copied it in Prey. See, I think it was similar. Yeah, it's similar. Same but different. Much more like cinematic text. You know, that cinematic typeface. Yeah. Equinox. That's probably what it is. But yeah, branding aside, I have to actually get the work done. Make it read in what's called. All right, I've darkened it a little bit. I'm gonna pop it. Let me see. But it's getting to the point where there's a lot of contrast. A lot of contrast. A lot of those colors don't look good blown out. Maybe I could just desaturate them a little bit. Just a tiny bit, you know, 20%. Keep smashing that contrast. This will have to be changed. I think the orange here is what I'll probably go with for the color of the suit. Probably what it's gonna be. Let me see. Really lazy about it, but drawing under too many layers, can't calculate. Oh, you know what? Actually, why don't I just make a new layer right here? What's this layer? Okay. I'll merge that right in into the new backup layer. Good. How about some music? Okay. It reads like I think with these new yeah, okay. Bit like a frogman with a big collar. I'll be honest, yeah, the bag isn't reading as a bag right now. It's reading as a what's called, which is not great. What I'll probably do is in this part a little bit. So that just mouse painting along. Should be this tone. Maybe some of it can come out here. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't read like a bag really. That's kind of a problem. Last day of school is in summer sale. I should look into it. I really should. I've just been so busy. Crazy busy. The thing is that subtlety doesn't work well in thumbnails. It's gotta be like, you know, not so subtle for it to read. Which, you know, constant like problem I think is that in a big image, subtlety is important. My solution generally is to make multiple images, but I could see how that could get really tiresome with having, you know, multiple iterations that you have to pull out or whatever. Multiple files you have to keep track of, like, oh well, this one doesn't go on the marketing and this one doesn't go on the what's called. Should be simpler. So card art, yeah, card art usually starting to read. I'll make it even better. Perfect edge. Those are really dangerous, but they make everything pop right out. Why is it so hot? Can it stop being hot, please? Okay, I think it reads, but I think it could be better. Bag. The bag. The bag. How do I make it more bag-like, you know? Let me see. What does a bag look like? Maybe I can... What is that kind of bag called? What kind of bag, right? It's like one of those nap bags. How about a leather bag? Ancient. Let's try to look for that, because I'm looking for this specific. You know what? It's not a bag. It's a sack. Okay, that's a little closer. All right, so I'm thinking maybe I can make. Maybe I can make these edges. You see, that shape of a bag. It's kind of empty though. I think it's like a sharp edge going across. I think that'll help a lot. And then like a little bit of a thing here like that. That's one thing I'm really not satisfied with, is that it does not look like a bag. I only have like 2 hours today. That looks more like a bag, I think. The other thing is, I think kind of like a rope or something. Tying it together would really help. Some kind of like high-tech rope, I don't know. Some kind of thing that makes you think, oh, okay. That's a bag, because it's got bag-like striations. Hey Jesse, what's up? How's it going? Just drawing people with bags over their heads, you know, just the regular stuff. I think that looks much more bag-like. I could screw with that edge a little bit, but that is important. I think that it looks like a bag. Well, yes. Gets the cast off, tired, tries to draw, hurts like hell after 10 minutes. I cry. Can never draw again. Physical therapy, it's gonna be tough, man. Don't worry, it'll come back. It'll be alright. But I'm glad you got the cast off, so. Yeah, don't overdo it, man. Let yourself heal. But also, you know, don't let it heal in the wrong way, because that's gonna be really bad. Okay, that looks much more bag-like. It no longer looks like a helmet, I think. It looks more like some sort of bag. Bathroom renovations. And so you won't be able to draw? I need something better than the, what's it called? Draw with my phone a little bit, or traditional. Hey, you know what? Since your hands hurt, maybe you could try doing that VR drawing, like they do it with like these handle things, and it draws like directly to 3D. Maybe you could try some of that. It seems to be like a new growing thing. Like, I'm not gonna do it because, you know, what's it called? I've got 2 functioning hands. Haha. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's something I wanted to check out, but like I don't have the money for the VR headset and the spoons or whatever you call them that you draw with. You could pay me 600. Yeah, same problem, my man. Yeah, hold up. Yeah, I don't really have the money for that. But yeah. Get like some company to subsidize you and be like, hey, I need a subsidy here. But I think it, like, from this far away, you can't read it because, like, the shape of the. I'm thinking about killing that shape, actually, you know, because it's like, it's not really that important to the story of the thing. Like, it's not that important. And I think I can get a better read. I can like leave some of it in, but not all of it in. And so you could still see kind of that he's sitting on something, but like, what is he sitting on? And that's fine, I think, as long as it doesn't like screw with my goddamn shape of the on the head. Then I'm good. I've tried it actually in VR scoping and Frozen Byte. It's actually pretty fun. I kind of want to try it because like you get to put on the headset and all that shit. It's like, that's kind of cool. What you're working on looks dope. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm working on a piece of key art for an upcoming video game called The Subject. From the same people that bought you Welcome to the Game and Welcome to the Game 2. I had nothing to do with those, but I feel like that's like a legit step up from, you know, furry art on DeviantArt or something like that. I think that's pretty good for me, even though it's, you know, kind of kind of a, what's it called? I knew the guy that hired me before he hired me, so I feel like I haven't really earned this position. I don't think he would have hired me if I wasn't, you know, as passable as I am. So, you know, but yeah, I feel like I'm still not really in that league of like just going out there and just like, hey, my art is really good, just hire me for stuff, you know, that sort of thing. I feel like people like Brad Rigney could do that. I can't do that. I want to do that. That's the dream, I think. Yeah, it is a cool project. It's like I can't spoil too much of it. As far as I know, it's a space sci-fi game, and I like those. Those are cool. And it's indie. Big fan of indie games. I play them all the time, but yeah, early access trials, I call them. Early access Steam trials. You can usually get most of the game within 2 hours, so, you know. The lighting is so screwed up here. I don't even know what is going on here. I remember this shoulder being really screwed up, so I don't know. I'm not gonna stress too much about it. I'm gonna cut some of this shoulder off so that he does look like he's not so diesel. Pro artist problems, can't talk about stuff. I don't know, actually. I don't even know. I'm literally like 2 minutes working on this thing. I don't know enough. They didn't tell me anything, probably because I have a big mouth. You know, like the first thing you tell me is gonna be out of my mouth as soon as you're out the door. When it's something juicy and exciting, and it's like video game related. I don't like to talk about people, but I like to talk about like subject matters and stuff like that. That's always like, I've noticed that because like some people talk about people, but I don't like doing that. I don't like talking about people at all. Like, I try to keep other people's names out of my mouth, unless they're, you know, like public intellectuals or some shit like that. Then I'm like fanboying. But yeah, I feel like in the real world you walk out and it's like everyone's just talking shit about each other, and I'm just like, man, I know the second I turn around you're talking shit about me for sure. That type of person. What's the base? Did they ask you to remake that? They gave me like I'll show you. No, that's like this mine, and with like requested changes. This thing, those are all mine. Also, but I am constantly iterating. You know, the way that it goes. I don't like to solve problems right away. I like to keep them around forever. The base they gave me was this thing, and I've kind of changed it a little bit. I noticed that this chat doesn't scroll very well. That's like an issue I don't like. I don't like that. What if I make it smaller? That fixes the problem somehow. Okay. They didn't give you much. Yeah, that's good. That's good. But like, it's gonna be tough. Like, if they start saying like, okay, well, we don't, because we haven't actually gotten into the design really. There hasn't been anything where it's like, okay, we need this in here and we need that in here. So far, I've just been on my own, kind of. And so I don't know how many of these details are gonna be like, yeah, we like this. Because most of this I came up by myself, like the harness and things like that, and like his, all that stuff. And and I've just gotten the bag to look the way I want it, so that's good. Everything else is just, you know, photo bash textures that I'm probably gonna yeah, they'll probably want some more out of the out of the design work. So far, also need to like to make like, what is this? What's that on? What is this layer? What's this? What's that? All right, that's gonna be merged. That's gonna be merged. Why can't I merge this? Why can't I merge those two layers? Okay, I can. All right, good. All right, so that, what's it called? I want to take it as far enough so it looks nice. Yeah, they also want it to look good on thumbnail, and so far, like I'm not sure it looks good on thumbnail. To be honest, it's not one of those. It's not one of those things. It kind of looks neat, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it needs a better. Things in the darkness don't look good on what's it called. And there's also gonna be like the actual, like, hold on, 100%. This is 100%. Stronger silhouette, yeah. Yeah, I've been pushing. I've been pushing, but it's tough. Like, I wanted it to be kind of in the darkness a little bit, with just, and they wanted it to be. That's kind of the gist of it. Was the brief was low light setting with, you know, only dim lights, and that doesn't make for you need hard light for that, I think, for like those super silhouettes, and so I think a spotlight from the top is what we're going for. But I have to make sure all of the light. I haven't really even started on it because I've just been doing the silhouette more and more. Yeah, spotlight from the top, and then some sort of underlighting for the hood. Yeah, I'll probably do something like that. Still screwing around with some of these shapes, like they're not. I think I broke his arm at some point, and so gotta redesign that. Make it more atmospheric, add some aerial perspective, but there's no, like, where is the aerial perspective coming from? Oh, no bacon? You're gonna crash the stream? Bacon? I don't have any bacon. Hey, Bacon, what's up, dude? So I'm currently like screwing around with the silhouette of his arm. I think I want to shift it down a little bit more, because it seems too powerful. He seems too strong. Where's the atmosphere, man? Atmospheric perspective is for stuff that's far away. Atmospheric perspective doesn't really happen like up close. Yeah, atmospheric perspective happens far away. It doesn't happen like next to you. Because what literally is happening is that your eyes or your vision is becoming less accurate because of the fog, the water vapor, just occluding objects. It's like an opacity layer. Like I think about it as like multiple opacity layers going farther and farther back. You just make it what's it called? So what that means is we're talking about like buildings. We're talking about something like, I don't know, like this. You see, it's an opacity layer, and then like even further back is another opacity layer, and then even further back. Like if all these buildings were the same value, right? And then you took one opacity layer for some of the buildings, and you made it like 50% yellow. And then for farther back buildings, you took another opacity layer and you put it on top of that. You know, you get what I'm saying? So it works, like in the back, I understand that, but like in the front, using atmosphere is kind of crazy. You have to be someone like Brad Rigney, I think, to get away with it. But if you look at like Brad Rigney's work, very clear cut, all the lines are crystal clear. The atmosphere is happening in the back. Look at some of his other work, because he has a lot of good work here. Large objects, you see he's huge, he's gigantic, he's far away. He's got atmospheric perspective around him. Same thing here, close, no atmosphere. Far away, atmosphere. This is cool. I don't know, like his unfinished work is really great. Like, I don't know. This is like the first image I ever saw from him. It was on like CG Hub. It was all over CG Hub. Same thing here, his most recent image. Atmosphere in the back. The forward figure is like crystal clear vision. There can be, there could be atmospheric perspective between his hands and his head. I don't know. unless he's gigantic and the distance is what's called, then you're like, it's not even about being a camera, it's about being like well, that doesn't look like the thing that you're trying to draw, right? It doesn't look like, yeah, you can separate objects that are, you know, that you can have like a little bit of distance between, but there's not going to be a cloud between someone's arms and their torso. That's not going to work. Can't do that. That's lying too much. That's overplaying your hand. You're always looking for some sort of verisimilitude. You're looking for something that looks real enough. And when you do something like put a cloud between someone's you know, torso and arms, if they're not a gigantic object, yeah, it's really non-atmospheric perspective. I mean, it's more like fog bashing. I'm gonna call it fog bashing. Atmospheric perspective is like specifically the effects of the atmosphere. And so that has to do with, like, I don't know, I think we had this conversation before. Like Bazary came on and said the same thing. Like this isn't debatable. You can't literally have. And suddenly there's fog right there in the spaceship, like between his arms and his torso. Okay, I'll compromise with you. You can do neat tricks with like value. You could do that, and then you can kind of finagle your way. But to do like, hey, I'm gonna put a cloud in between this guy. He has to be gigantic. That's the only way. That's the only way. Like King Kong, that size. Then you can do it. But otherwise. And then it works because you're using an element to do storytelling. You're using an element to justify something else. Like you're saying, this guy is really fucking huge. He has a literal cloud in front of him, and so that's when it really works. But if you just like jam it in between like a human-sized guy, that's not gonna work. That's just gonna look bad. It's probably gonna get flagged like right away. You can even do atmospheric perspective between a foreground figure and like just slightly background element. Yeah, you could do that. Like everyone does that shit. There's no one standing behind you being like, okay, you have to work as a camera. There's no fog here. Like no one's doing that. But like, yeah, there's a difference between lies. Like you have to be good at lying. You can't just, just gotta add some fog right here. It's just there. Plus, fog kills silhouette. My problem is the fact that it's not reading, so I need like crystal clear edges, like super clear. I'm gonna be making it like just like no subtlety, just completely what's called cut edges, with lasso tool. I'm gonna lasso tool the shit out of this. That's what's gonna happen. Man, this bag effect looks dope as fuck. Hey, it reads like a bag. Thank you, Bacon. Appreciate you. As long as that's reading like a bag and not like a green helmet of some sort, then we're Gucci. That's like one thing that I wanted to change for so long. And so look, this is from this morning and this is now. Okay, so it pops just a little bit more, if you go back even further, like if you go back 2 days ago, then it's like the difference is super clear. Oh shit, what's it called? I have to drop that into the thing for some reason. Like the thing isn't reading. Shit. Oh, that's why. Okay, I see. I understand. All right. So that was in the thing. Hold on, let me do that again. That whole thing. All right. So this is from this morning. This is now. This is like it's reading a whole lot better. I would like to say. Not tooting my horn too much, but it is reading better, and I think I need to keep going down that path. Again, if you look, another day. Whoops. Why isn't this working? Another day, it's like, it's crystal clear. Oh, why does that keep happening? That's really strange. All right, anyway. Yeah, the like it's much better. I think it's much more clear read. No atmosphere, just crystal clear edges, just what's it called? I'm gonna actually imitate Bragg Rigney's work since it's What was that? Oh, right, the ArtStation stuff. Okay, cool. Someone probably put out a blog. I'm gonna click that. See, his edges are super, super clear. And when he says, I abuse the shit out of atmosphere, he means like right behind the character, there's suddenly like super fog. But this guy is like super crystal clear. Super crystal clear. And I'm gonna actually steal some of his handling of the browns within the greens. I think that looks kind of cool. I'm gonna be stealing that. But yeah, the thing that I'm working on right now for sure is making this read as a thumbnail. So that's the major error right now. Where did my image go? Oh, here it is. Yeah, see, so it matches in, you know, the way that I see. It matches much more the new version than this one, with the exception of the added silhouette changes, which also help, I think. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna keep pushing that contrast, trying to get that, what's it called? Trying to get that silhouette. I don't want to over push it though. I want to like leave some of it, you know, not too much. Because there is such a thing as like hyper contrast, and then there needs to be like room for subtlety. I think I'm gonna kill all the background elements and then just work on this guy. Just get him tight, you know? I have to get bag textures going. But it is starting to, yeah. I've been having this conversation with a couple of friends, and I'm just like, man, I love his stuff. It just blows me away every time I look at it. I don't know. I really like it. Definitely, like, some guy made fun of me, like, at some point, and like in the beginning. It's like, oh man, that guy photobashes. Like, right away, and I'm like, I'm not even sure he does, to be honest, because, like, a lot of his work doesn't look that bashed. And I showed it to another friend of mine, he's like, huh, some of this stuff doesn't look bashed at all. But I'm pretty sure he does bash it, though, because he says so. I don't believe him. I'll take him at his word. You know, why would you lie? I've got a question for you. Where did my shoulder go? That's not good. I lost my shoulder. I just had it. Where did it go? Is it on this layer? No. That's really weird. I think I deleted the shoulder. Because the shoulder is back from previous version. Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. I see. Alright, okay. I understand. Because I erased parts of it, and then it's like, okay. Alright, so that bleeds through. Let me, if that is the case... Okay. Alright, I see. I understand now. Yeah, there's a... I was using a layer below to do some of the things. Okay. Let me just make sure that that works. And that's my overlayer. Alright, why don't I just like merge that down, since that's a duplicate. Okay, and then alright, I have all of that, and I have my shoulder, and that's good. Where is the shoulder? You cannot hide it from me. Yeah. Sehr gut. Yeah. Alright, I've straightened out some of the shape issues with the arm, in my opinion. Just has to be, you know, correctly what's called, but the rest of it, I think it's gonna be pretty good. Good example of the atmospheric perspective thing. Aha, artist cheat with it. I mean, all of Rigney's work has atmospheric perspective in it. Every single piece. This piece has it in the back. This piece has it. This one has like magic. He's using magic to do some of it, but you see the silhouette is absolutely clear. And it's actually in the front of it. I would actually say that that might be, yeah, you can have it like in front of the foreground figure. That's, you know, that's crazy. You have to, ooh. And that's so real. Yeah, see, he does it again here with in front of the foreground figure. Now, you could do that, but it's not between his arms, right? It's literally in front of him. That's possible. Like, you could do that. You can imagine a scenario where there is a, He just put that out? Because I was just, like, looking at here. Oh, 2 days ago, yeah. Yeah, that's close enough. The wing behind her hands, the metal part is lighter. Yeah. Yeah. That is cheating. Also, the between her what's called her metal sword and the head, because this thing causes a tangent right here. The metal hat and the this thing. Oh, I thought you meant here, because here also the wing is a little bit lighter. The one arm that's pointing up. Yeah, that's bullshit. You can't do shit like that. That's not fair. That's nonsense. I guess they didn't like it or something, because like Rigney usually doesn't make up rules for lighting. Then again, this is not one of my favorite pieces from him, to be honest. TBH. Got a lot of cool stuff in it, but yeah, making like parts of the silhouette, what's called a little lighter, a little value, but that's not atmospheric perspective. That's like, you could say that that's, you know, that's you screwing around with the value to improve the silhouette, but that's not what atmospheric perspective is. This is what atmospheric perspective is. It's in the front or it's in the back, but it's not in between limbs. That's not, I don't know, that's gay. I hate that. I don't like any of that. You can't just put fog between some guy's like face and torso. That doesn't work. Nah, I'm not good with that. If he's huge, I can see the justification. I can understand. If it's in front of him, I understand how that works. That's the physics of it. But if it's like... It does have... Yeah, it does absolutely have something to do with the size, because size equals distance. Large thing, distance. Like if you have something in your image, the hand that was pointing up is further away, not a lot. Yeah, and like it doesn't actually, like in reality, that wouldn't happen. You see, that's the problem. That's what I'm trying to point you to, is that this is a lie and a bad one. You can't do that. That's not good. I don't know. I feel like it's a crutch, and it makes for an overall, like, you gotta figure out ways of making it work without doing that. And I feel like this is an image from, I don't know, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. He even says like that he used to make up rules for lighting that, like, you know, doesn't actually work sometimes to push his images. And you can see that he has changed from those 2 years. There's like a huge change between here and here. Like, he'll still use and abuse atmosphere. Like, it's in front, right? But it's not doing this thing where it's just like, well, that's gonna be, you know, maybe this dog silhouette. I don't know. I don't like that. That's fog. Fog is an effect of atmosphere, so technically, like, if we're talking, like, what is atmosphere, right? What is the thing that we're talking about? Generally, we're talking about fog, distance, and sight, right? How we perceive fog in the distance, how we perceive large objects being obfuscated by that fog in the distance. And like, sometimes, you know, I don't know, I'm being a little autistic about it, but I don't like the like, when they lie, to just like to get at what's it called, like, that you should have, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Yes. No, not air particles, water particles. Yes, water particles, not air particles like that. Air is invisible. Water, however, as part of the air. I mean, particles in the air? Because that would work too. Yes. The autism is strong. But yeah, I understand like when someone does something like that, especially for card art. Because when card art, you don't have this like luxury of being able to say, well, all of this like realistic light and all that shit. When you're doing work for Magic the Gathering, they don't give a shit. Like, they don't care. They'll be like, okay, well, I'm your art director, I don't like this. We need to make not realistic light. We need to make what's called, and Magic the Gathering does this a lot because, again, it has to look good here, and here there's almost no value difference. Like, there's almost none when it's that small. It just, like, it's negligible. But when you're looking at the big and detailed, the beautiful work, you know, then it's like, yeah. And so, like, yeah, specialized for card art, that's when it becomes a problem, I feel like. That's when it becomes a problem. Like, like card art itself, it's problematic. And I love this. Elder Scrolls stuff is like some of his best work, I think. I like this one and the Dragons one. I could look at this all day. Like, this is just good. It's just like really, really good. Yeah, well, I have to. Gotta make it look good in the thumbnail. And I basically did add some sort of weird foggy thing, like, behind him, but I'm not gonna do that in between his arms and his torso. That's impossible. That's like when it becomes, you know, too crazy. Too crazy for me, man. I can't do that. Large objects, distance. This is like, again, same words. Trying again. Large objects, distance. If it's close up, not far away, you know, and you could do things with atmosphere like that are just impossible, improbable. But you know, whatever. It's the Gucci. But like when it's like right next to it, I don't know. I don't like that. That's not. You mean this thing? Yeah, he does that trick a lot. Alduin is huge. How dare you? How dare you? He's one of the biggest dragons of all time. I would know. Believe me, okay? He's huge. He's huge. You can't call him a small dragon. It's not gonna work. Huge. One of the biggest. Huge. Like, but that's not so bad. But it really is, like, because the dragon is so big, you can get away with it. Like, again, so the size of the thing really does matter. It sells like large objects, cause like, I don't get how he didn't do it here, cause then that is a mistake, I think. Cause even though this wing is a little bit closer here, I don't know. Some of these choices, like, I don't know. I don't like that. And that doesn't sit right with me. Like, if you're gonna do the fog thing here, like, cause he already did fog behind it to pop the wing, and then he also did it here. He could have solved that in another way. I mean, like, it would also be getting light from the dragon's breath. So he could have solved it that way. I feel like that's a cop out, and just because he did a mistake doesn't mean that he like if you called him on it, if you're like, Brad, this is nonsense, I bet he would be like, yeah, it is nonsense, you're right, but it's fucking like, it's work, what do you want? And so I don't think he has like much of a choice, to be honest. Again, so like, other people's mistakes don't justify the, what's it called, the physics of the thing. If something is huge, it makes his torso, yes, right, the distance. The distance is literally relevant because he's huge, because like, we're not talking about 1 meter, we're talking about 10 meters, right? So the calculation is different. And then you could be like, well, you know, maybe there's a little bit of fog there, but I like this one a lot. And the tiny thing that's like, oh, okay, we need to pop out that, like, I'm not sure it really matters even. Like, if he left that in, if he used the fire to change the value to be a little lighter, so that he could get a more pop silhouette on the what's it called? I mean, like, it's not really a mistake. Maybe a mistake is a little bit too, what's it called? But like, if there's a pocket of light, I don't know, a pocket of fog, like right under his armpit. You see this thing right here? It's just like, oh, I'm gonna put this right here. That's there because, not because, you know, it's really there, but it's because it, you know, you needed to read the silhouette. And so I understand that, I get that, but like, I mean, At that point, we're not really arguing about like what's real and what we're talking about like, well, it's this trickery, right? But like you agree that it's trickery, so we can't do this thing. Try not to do it, you know? I feel like there was a better way of solving that problem. I'll be honest. I think that Brad could have used the light from the fire. Something tells me that he did. And then that was shut down. But yeah, I don't know. Again, like he might not even have a choice there what to do with that. What's it called? His art director might be like, hey, we need this way. And so he's like, yeah, okay, I can do that, no problem. All right, it's not like all about the artist, right? It's about the marketing team, always. So the thing is, like, in my mind, I'm gonna keep the correct rules, and then like if I'm told like, hey, we need this and that, I'm gonna be like, yeah, sure, I can do that. But like, yeah, I'm not gonna change the way that physics works in my mind, like the constructs that I have up. I'm not gonna change those. That'd be fucking ridiculous. And so like when someone tells me like you can do this, like yeah, you can, but like it's not right. I think that's like one of those problems. Like when you literally believe someone else's lies, that's when you know you're dealing with a good liar. When you believe someone else's lies about reality, and you're just like, yeah, that is actually how it is. It's not even wrong. It's just right. Yeah, again, these are like editorial changes, right? We're talking about the same thing, right? Or see or no? Right, it's trickery, right? So we agree, but like, yeah, some of this, like this is the solution. Good example of the lump on its back. Yeah, like there's a like you can do that. I think you can do that because like there's so much atmosphere. Like there's so much atmosphere in like I don't know how to calculate what it would look like in a volcano. I have no idea. Like he could be completely right. I don't know what the conditions are. Like what's the water vapor level and things like that. I have no idea how to even, you know, think about that. I would have to do like research. And so for you to like come in and be like, hey, this is completely correct or completely wrong, I'd be like, I don't know. And so especially with like volcano settings where the heat is like crazy, it doesn't matter, it's 100% realistic, it has to be believable and look good. That's true, and yeah. But like again, I'm talking about like, I don't know if I want to do this because I'd like to maintain that I don't think I could get away with it. Honestly, that's another thing. I don't know if I could just get away with it. Hey Cornetto, what's up, dude? How's it going? Depends on the art director project. Yeah, I feel like it does have to do more with what the artist is being told rather than like him saying like, I actually want to bend the rules of physics. And this is like you're reading intent out of action, and you can't do that. You can't really make that bridge. Like you're saying like he did this on purpose because he believes this is true, and I'm saying like I think it's maybe because like his art director told him to do that. I think he understands like the physics at such a high level that, you know, he can pull it off. I'm not sure I can. That's another thing. Also, this friggin' what's it called is just great. I don't know. I love this piece. Jesse, never mind. You're saying some shit about like you just put in our atmospheric perspective somewhere, and I'm like, I don't think that's atmospheric perspective. And then like you're like, oh, well, just, you know, this fucking looks awful now. I don't want to look at this. I want to look at Brad Rigney's work. This offends me now. So I've lost track of where the argument is, to be honest. I think we ended up on this isn't reality, and I'm not sure it should be imitated. Looking at other people's mistakes and justifying your own is not a good way of going about things. That's my position, I think. I'm not sure what your position is. TBH Fam Squad. I didn't say it was a mistake. I didn't even comment on that piece. What? See? This is called Le Straw Man. I said I don't have enough adequate information about like what goes on in volcanoes, and I'd need to do like research. I have no idea. And I also said that you could actually do that because, well, maybe it does work that way. Because I really don't have any idea how water vapor works in that situation. Yeah, like in other, we were talking about multiple pieces. What? Again, so like you're taking arguments from the other pieces, and you're like, this whole thing is not just about this one piece. You can't pretend like we haven't been talking this whole time. We've been talking a lot about multiple pieces, and some of those pieces have mistakes. This piece does not, right? Or at least I don't know if it does. I'm pretty sure it's correct because I think in a volcano setting that is a possible way that you could use the water vapor and the light, the glows. I'm not sure about that. I know it's not to, if you're trying to please the art director, for sure. But I think in your mind you should have that working model of reality, and you should be able to bend it. I'm not sure I can. I have to like really get into this. I'm not sure I can get away with just adding, you know, some atmosphere between his arm and his torso. I think that was the example that we started talking about. I can't do that. I don't think that's a good idea. No, you have one point of view. That's called accommodation. Well, unless you close one of those eyes, I guess. You know, your brain synthesizes an image from your 2 points of view, so you only have one unless you close that eye, I guess. Is that what you're saying? I'm trying. Sure, yeah, that's parallax, I believe. God, I don't know the word for that actually, but yeah, the 2D image that doesn't happen. Sure. Right. Yes. Well, to make them read, no. Well, you have to make them read when it's. You're still wait. No. With a 2D image that's already done for you, you're already seeing that that one image that your brain synthesizes. That's what you get. So there's no difference between a 2D image or photograph and a what's it called. It's not about the trickery. It's about creating that image that's already in your head from those two viewpoints. You can't do this thing where it's like, well, if you close your eye and then no, Jesse, you're wrong about this. You're trying to say that you need to create a different image from what you're looking at, and I'm saying that you don't. It's not that I don't understand your point; it's that I disagree with it. Because your brain synthesizes those two viewpoints that you were talking about into one viewpoint, and that's the process of accommodation. And that's why you can see distance. No, it's not about examples. It's about the science behind vision. How about no? It's not an example. It's like, well, how does vision actually work? You can't. This is like an argument from counterexamples, I think. And so, I don't know, man. It's not how it works. Oh god. Let's see. I have 2 black balls. One is smaller. Sure. One is larger. Yeah. Not by much. Okay. I feel like your black balls are not going to disprove physics or the way the eye works. I don't think that's going to happen. Some reason. If I put the other further away, since they are the same size, yeah, it's called flattening out the perspective. How do you know which one is closer? In a 2D image, they could actually, like, if you took a picture of it, it might actually look like they're exactly the same size. Have you ever seen, like, there's a lot of these images where playing with perspective for example, but that's called creating an illusion. You can Google perspective illusions. But you are looking at these two, and see. So again, accommodation. I'm gonna let you. What's it called? I'm gonna let you watch this thing. Your brain synthesizes illusions sometimes. Now the thing is that that doesn't, like, you're trying to a priori get to somewhere where I'm not going. This is also 3D. Well, I mean, you would see this in 3D. There are illusions that can be created in, like, while you're looking at reality. Like, those exist. There's tons of optical illusions. I don't know, like, why this is a problem. Are you trying to say that you would see those 2 balls differently? Yeah, absolutely. There's tons of optical illusions. Sure. That's why the words exist, right? Optical illusions. I wouldn't. I think I wouldn't. I wouldn't see which one is closer. I think, like, if you put it correctly, and you make, like, it from that same perspective, I believe that I would see them as the same. What's it called? Same equidistant. If you do it correctly. And there aren't any, you know, atmospheric perspective tricks at play. You didn't create a cloud in your room. All right, Jesse. I don't know. I feel like this conversation is going nowhere. Unless you have, like, I think we're gonna have to go with, like, visual aids. You got visual aids of your what's it called? Because the visual aids seem to be on my side. Like, there are errors in I guess cognition, or how we look at certain things, and sometimes you can get illusions going, and those exist in reality as well as pictures. They are the same thing. But if you're talking about, like, well, you know, I don't want this illusion in my image, like, I want to space it out. And yeah, there's a way to do something about that. That doesn't mean that it reflects reality, however, right? Right, because I don't know why you choose to do this. I don't know why you choose to do the things that you do. Doesn't make any sense to me. I haven't said anything. I feel like there's not much I've got, you know? Not much I've got to say. Alright, so why object look 3D in real life? Is it because each of your eyes sees it a different image, those images to make 3D view? Yes, accommodation, that's what that's called. I'll Google it for you because you're getting difficult. I'm not going to respond to that. I feel like you're... This is a trap. Your mom gay. You can also look up accommodation errors if that's what is interesting to you. VR, there are two screens, one for each eye. Both renders the same image from different images. It does the same effect. Sure, that's because you're literally, those things are so close to your eyes that you need that to happen. And in order to fool your brain that you're looking at reality, right? But when you're looking at an image, no one's trying to do that. No one's trying to fool your brain into accommodating. What's your point? Accommodation errors, it's giving me like illusions. Let me try illusions. Obviously, yes, so then like what's the problem? I don't understand why you brought up VR. What's your point? When you're looking at 2D image, you don't see 3D. You see a rendition of 3D. You see a 3D object transposed in a 2D space. How do you show things are closer or further? What do you mean? What does that have to do with anything? Like, yes, you can use value. We all see, we see 2D images of the 3D image, the 3D objects around us. That would be the correct way of putting it. We see 2D images of 3D objects around us. That would be the correct way of saying it, I think. Yeah. I just don't know what you want to say. How does this have any effect on anything, really? Because when we look at 2D images, we don't see, let's say, an arm in a picture from two different angles. I mean, there's no two... Yeah, so? What do you mean? Like, what's that supposed to do? I don't understand, Jesse. Those 3D, that's already the 2D image in your head. That's what we're trying to get to. That's the whole point of the art. That drawing is depicting 3D objects in 2D space. That's the whole point. That's like, what is drawing.jpg? So we have to use something like value to show the value. Right. Just like your brain does for you. That's what your brain does. Your eyes also see value, Jesse. That's why the illusion works. The head looks good right now. Everything else looks like shit. Your brain can't get the information that something is closer if there is no... This is how you apply atmosphere to your painting. Let me see. Promotional. I don't really see atmosphere here. I see what's called lighting. Lighting. What's it called? Lighting. What's called difference. These bleeding shapes together. With lighting, I think. Shading. I feel like you're trying to explain to me, but your brain can't get information that something is closer from a 2D image if there is no value. Right, because then that image would just be a black or one flat thing. It wouldn't be what's called just flat colors. Yeah, what's your point in this again? I don't understand. Get to like what you're trying to say. You know, not what you are saying, because like so far it's very banal and doesn't really prove much about, you know, using atmospheric perspective wherever you feel like it. You know, you don't have some. You need to have like. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. What? Again, you are depicting reality. You're depicting those same effects. The reason you see something farther, closer away is because your brain... Yes! What? What do you see exactly that's not atmosphere? Can you tell me? Like, what do you see? You see people? No, you see, like, particles that are, you know, that reflect light. Like, what? I don't know. This is some silliness. Jesse's got eyes. He's being obtuse for some reason. I don't understand why. I'm really trying to understand what you're saying, but it sounds like you don't see atmospheric perspective. Right, yes, of course, but you are still seeing atmospheric effects. You're still seeing you're still seeing reality. It has nothing to do with what's it called? Well, you're saying a perception of reality, I should say. That would be incorrect. You don't actually have access to reality. You have access to what's it called? Like a good example of this, some people are blind, for instance, or you have bad eyesight or something like that. Again, this is not proving you can use atmospheric perspective wherever the hell you want, or that atmospheric perspective exists where it doesn't, or that you don't see atmospheric perspective, because like none of those things are true. So again, you have to very very clearly make your points, Jesse. If you want me to listen, you got to be like, okay, so here's the standard for proving that atmosphere can be put anywhere. Okay, see, you have two eyes. Like what? See, you're losing me. Like when you're trying to do this thing where it's just like I'm just gonna push through this, where it's just logic and there's no nothing, just like holding it together. No, I'm not trying to misunderstand your point, but it doesn't seem like you're making one in a very clear way, so it's very difficult for me to respond. Again, so like, why can you use atmospheric perspective wherever you want? What exactly is the justification for that? Because you don't have accommodation when looking at an image? That's what your argument sounds like to me? Is that what you're saying? Because I'm not sure that's what you're saying, but that's what it sounds like. So if you could just like steer me in the correct way of what are you saying exactly? Yeah, and so what? We don't have. We have to use other tricks to give things up. No, you're not using other tricks. You're depicting what you see. Not using tricks. You're depicting those things that you see. That binocular vision. That is what you're trying to emulate. It's not about tricks. It's about emulating that thing, that perception of reality. You're giving things depth because they have depth in reality. You can't just be like, okay, I'm just gonna give this object depth for no reason. I have to focus on what gives. It does, like, artist camera doesn't mean anything. That's like saying that you could just draw like stick figures and that's like really the best thing ever, and so deal with it. It's artists are not cameras. My stick figures are the best. So at that point, you're no longer making an argument for like good ways of doing something. It's more like you can do anything. There's no good things. There's no bad things. It's just anything can be. Anything is possible. Just let your dreams be memes, you know? So there has to be a good way of doing things. There has to be a bad way of doing things. And so if you can differentiate between those two, then I don't know. A lot of people can't. I don't know why that is, but like, yeah, you can't say that. You can't say that you have, you know, a system of values or something like that, or you think this is better than that. That's, you can't do that. That's illegal. It's not tricks. It's literally an understanding of reality and an attempt to depict it. It's not tricks. You can. It's, you get close to it, you know? You get close to it and you get an illusion, and so you don't need to. That's not even the object of the game. What you have to do is make someone believe that you are emulating binocular vision. Like, for instance, let's take an example. 2D perspective is complete bullshit. Right? No? Yes, no? 2D perspective is a shorthand way of depicting 2-point perspective. Sorry, 2-point perspective is a way of shorthanding 3D objects into reality. But it, like, we don't see things in two-point perspective. That's not what happens. Again, some things are just like just a really good way of depiction and a shorthand for so that we don't go crazy. I think, because I personally I think that I'd love to do everything in like curvilinear, but it just doesn't. No, like, I don't know what you want anymore. Like, if you want to do it, you can do it, but don't say you're right to do it. That's my only contention. And don't tell other people that, like, this is the right way to do things. This is it. Say that you're lying and that, what's it called? Sometimes it's a good line, you know? You can do whatever you want. I don't like see the problem here. I think our main point of like disagreement is that you're not understanding what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that you can do anything. There are good ways of doing things. The best ways of doing things involve verisimilitude, or emulating reality to such a great depth that there is no need to lie. But again, so it's like we're talking about so many things. Jesse, I feel like you're the next thing that you're gonna say is like, well, did you know that there are no lines in reality? And I'm just gonna be like, yes. Absolutely. right. I got Lyra behind me. Lyra's got my back. All right. Okay, I guess then we're just oh my god, what is this? No. This, like, that image has offended me. I'm just like, I'm totally offended by this. Atmosphere, like, okay. I think we're using different definitions for words then, because it's like, I don't know what you mean by atmospheric perspective. If you think it's just like, what's it called? If you were using the definition from before, it's like, what is it? What is it that we're talking about? Yeah, Brad told lies to what's it called? To get farther away from reality, not get closer to it. To get closer to his art director's what's it called? And he even admits this. He says, I use atmosphere like a crutch. He's like, would it be more realistic if it didn't do that? I'm not sure. I think he could have solved, like, for instance, on the dragon, I think he could have solved that with the fire, using the value, like a value change for the fire on his, what's it called? Like, for instance, let's take a look at this. Like, let me really iterate what I'm saying here. Like, on this beautiful work, it's great. I love it. Instead of just lightening it, like, he could have said, well, it's lighter because there is fire there, and therefore it makes really great sense that that silhouette is that way, because you know, there's what's called, but then you run into the problem. See, this is where your lies start stacking up. And I'm not a great liar, so I try not to do it. If you have light on this wing, then why the fuck is there no light here? You know? And then you run into the problem where you're back where you started, right? So maybe my solution isn't better, but it, you know, again, so this is like, it should be dim light, and that would have pushed the silhouette and the value there. That's my opinion on. Oh shit! Almost like you know, almost had me there. Almost had me there. Almost had me, ha. I almost said no, and then that would have been all the work for the fucking day. This is why I don't do this argument shit while painting fucking, oh fuck, I'm late for work. God damn it. This is every single time. Bye. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry that I have to go so abruptly. See ya.